What's up, guys? It's Dave, the Military Millionaire, and today I want to talk to you about something fun, which is speculative investments that I'm making this year. And I've got 7 things written down on my little bullet point list here, and we're going to dig right in because it's a lot of fun. So just to kind of key in on a few points here before we really jump into what these are. When I say speculative, I mean gambling. I could freaking lose everything on these, right? So I wouldn't put more than 10%, maybe 20% of your investing capital into these ever, right? The people who get screwed are the people who go all in, all out, whatever. The people who bought into GameStop or GameStonk at like $300 because it was going up and the internet said it was going to keep going to the moon. No. Don't get sucked up in that emotional hype and the pump and dump, and stick to your strategy. But if you want to do some speculative stuff, right? These are some ideas and things that I'm screwing around with. Some of these are kind of fun. Some of these are kind of a joke. Some of these legitimately might pay off. You never know. Oh, and as always, subscribe to the damn channel, you jerk. First up on the list is, yep, you guessed it, Pokemans. Woo! I don't even know if you can see those. So the Pokemon card thing, right? Like, I had a bunch of Pokemon cards growing up. These aren't them. I don't even know what happened. I had some that were very valuable. I didn't have first editions, but I definitely had like a Charizard holographic. I had all three, like the Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise. I had a lot of really solid cards. I actually kept them in sleeve protectors. I have no idea where they went. I wouldn't be surprised if my little brother sold them, or someone sold them, or they got thrown out, or who knows. It's a bummer because they would be worth some money right now. Pokemon cards has picked back up. It's kind of gotten crazy over the last year, and I love it because I always enjoyed them. I've actually got like a wall of Pokeballs back here because I was kind of bought some of those Pokeballs to make a video. The video actually didn't turn out. Total waste. What I did was I bought those, and then I sold. There were 3 packs in each one. I sold 2 of the types of packs that made. So I bought them all for $500. 2 of those packs sold, made like $380 off those 2 pack types. And I'll probably sell the Pokeballs too at some point. And then I have all these cards that I'm going to send in to get graded, and then those will come back, and assuming I can get an 8, 9, or a 10 on this bad boy, for grading, should be fairly worthwhile. That alone might pay for all the cards. Total speculation, right? I just always enjoyed trading them. It's kind of fun to open them all. And the perks of like being a YouTuber, there's a tax write-off piece for them being props for a video. Not a huge write-off, but so I thought it'd be fun to buy those. So, you never know. It is what it is. The next one up is cryptocurrency, and I'm actually reading some books on this to make it less of a speculative investment and actually research this. But I have been gambling a little bit in it. In fact, I own some of the elusive Dogecoin, and I actually, I didn't buy in at the hype where I made the GameStonk jokes earlier. I bought Dogecoin back in June when I realized that it existed, and I thought, people are really irrational. Surely enough people will think that this made-up cryptocurrency after a dog from memes is funny, and if enough people think it's funny and buy into it for that reason, it'll go up in value. And it actually has some legitimacy to it now, but I bought in at like 1/3 of a cent, and I bought $200 worth, which, to put in perspective, $200 bought me like 56,000 shares of this stock or crypto. Anyway, so I was right, and it got hyped up not too long ago, and it went up to like 1 penny, so I tripled up, and so I sold $200 worth, and before it hit there, I basically doubled up. I sold $200 worth. So at that point, I had like 28,000 shares and no money in it, right? That's kind of my strategy. If I play these speculative investments, is if it does jump, I sell my principal out, so I can't lose my principal, and then whatever's left is profit, and I can hold that for the long term. Well, as you guys might know, Dogecoin got swept up in the GameStop, AMC, whatever mess, and it shot up to like 8 cents. And I should have sold at 8 cents, but I didn't because it's all profit. I didn't really care. Anyway, when it kind of started to hover around 4 or 5 cents, I sold $700 worth at the 5 cent mark. So at this point, I put in $200. I've returned $900, and I still have 14,000 shares. So if it goes up to $1, that's worth 14 grand. It goes up to $10, it's worth $140,000. I don't see that ever happening. But look, who cares? It's all profit. I already made, what, 3 times, 4 times my initial investment, 3.5 times my initial investment back, and I've still got 14,000 shares, so just let it ride and have some fun. I am dabbling a little bit in crypto. I have some XRP, which is Ripple. I have some shares in some smaller offshoots of Ethereum, and I own like a whopping $20 in Doge or in Bitcoin for inviting somebody to the Coinbase platform. So if you're interested in crypto, I'll leave a link down below. You can check it out. I'll get $10 worth of Bitcoin, so that when it goes back down, it'll be worth like $2 worth of Bitcoin. So huge incentive for me to sell you on this platform. Look, it's just one of the many platforms you can trade cryptos from. You can even use Robinhood if you want. I've got videos on that. They're all embroiled in controversy right now, but who cares? Anyway, crypto, I think, I should have invested in it a while back. I know that, but I didn't know anything about it. I stay out of investments I don't know anything about. So now I'm reading some books on it. I'm learning a little bit more about how to value, how to trade and whatnot. And I think there's some potential for some upswing, but it's very, very volatile, very speculative. I have no idea. So I wouldn't put more than 10 or 20% of your net worth or investing capital into it, but there's potential for some of those things to explode. So at that point, if it's 10%, it just disappears. You lost 10% of your net worth, or your investing capital or whatever. But if it's 10% and it like triples, you're doing all right. So that's the whole point for only putting a small percentage in on some of these. Day trading or chasing IPOs, like initial public offerings, or SPACs, the new thing. It's not new, but it's just been popular lately. I'm not a huge fan of this. You guys know this. I think the up trade, down trade, buy it, sell, buy it, sell, buy it, sell, like the tax advantages and the beating the market, I don't really think it's something you can play into. I'm not a huge fan. That being said, there is possibility that you can make some money. I don't like the amount of effort or time or research it takes. It's just not my piece of bread. I'm really not going to focus on this. I've got some articles and videos on it. Check them out, but just know that you shouldn't be doing it with all your net worth ever. All right, so I'm going to kind of wrap the next two into one, actually. Collectibles, and then I put old books because I think like there's something to be said for old books. Like I was at an estate sale, I got this like box of ancient books, like 100-year-old, 200-year-old books. None of them are really worth anything right now, but if I can keep them in decent shape, they might be, or to the right person, they might be, right? So there's something to be said for old books, and there's just something cool about owning like an old leather-bound book. So I'm going to hold on to some of those, but collectibles in general, right? There's a lot of collectibles that just never take off, but there are collectibles that do, such as Pokemon cards, right? Like if you've been collecting Pokemon cards 20 years ago and held them, you'd be doing very well right now. Very, very well. So just know that collectibles is something that if people are kind of hyped up on an item or it's really rare, there's definitely potential there if there's the right market. I'm not going to dig into like examples of collectibles. I mean, that could be artwork, that could be whatever, but it's really going to be kind of specific to what you enjoy or understand. Don't be just speculating on collectibles that you know nothing about just because it's an antique or just because it's collectible. But there's potential there, right? So, I mean, art for one, there's definitely potential in art, so you never know. All right, you're going to love this one. The next one up is myself. Yeah, I know, I'm a jerk. But look, I am definitely going to be investing in myself. I think that's the best investment you can make. I don't think it's speculative, actually. I think that if you invest in yourself, it's a sure freaking thing, but people don't do it. So definitely invest in education, books, podcasts, getting yourself around the right people. It might feel like speculation to throw a couple $1,000s at a mastermind or at coaching or life coaching or whatever, but the results are going to be huge, right? You will get a ton out of the right course or coaching. So just know that I am a firm believer of investing in yourself, and I think you should be too. And the final thing on this list is building a business. And this is, I say speculative because so many businesses that start fail within the first few years. And so many people get washed out, or they start a business and they don't actually finish, like all kinds of things can go wrong here on the business front. So definitely not an easy thing, but there's a ton of upside to building a business. So I think building a business is, yes, it's speculative, but I think it can be extremely valuable and it's definitely worth doing. So that's my thoughts on investing in yourself, on some speculative investments. But just remember, you want to do this with a small piece of your net worth. So if it's super volatile, the rest of your stuff is not gonna, it won't tank you. Don't go all in on some of these crazy things. Because if you lose, you'll be like that kid on TikTok that was crying because he lost like $96,000 buying into, I don't know, GameStop or something. Definitely not, you don't want to be that guy. Don't take advice from people who don't know how to do this. And if you don't know what you're doing with investing, even with these speculative things, if you don't know what you're doing, learn first, research, learn about crypto, learn about investing. Don't just say, hey, what's a good stock? And no, don't play the game. Don't go off social media. Don't go off hype. Don't go off what people are saying. Do your own research. Take responsibility. Some of these speculative investments can take off. If it's 10% of your whatever, and you make 10 bets and one of them goes wild, it might trump the other 9. You never know. So it's okay to take a few losses here. This is speculation. It's gambling. It's not really investing. It's hey, we'll see what happens. But it can be very worthwhile. So that's my thoughts. Make sure you subscribe. What are some of the speculative investments that you are looking forward to over the next few years? I want to hear.